Let's talk about Ballerina, or From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. Such a convoluted and weird title, but I gotta say, there's nothing convoluted or weird about this movie. The whole time I was watching this, is this gonna be a worthy successor to the John Wick franchise? Because Keanu Reeves is getting up there in age. I think he's like 61, even though he doesn't look it. So he's not gonna be able to do this for too long. So can they find a young buck to continue the franchise on, that we can follow their journey? And I think they found a really good spin-off to start fresh from. Ballerina is such a blast. Not only does it build out the world that was already established, showcasing little things that, we never got to really see in the main movies. Like, if you go to the Continental and break the rules, what do they do to you? We see things like that. What is the place that John Wick learned everything from? We get a little bit more details of the inner works of that, and who they are rivals with, and how John Wick got his training, how it starts out. There's so much training elements in the beginning of this movie that shows how the ballerina, or Eve, played by Ana de Armas, gets her skills. And it was like seeing a young, fresh John Wick starting out as an early assassin, getting all his skills and training, and why he's this hardened person. It was really dope how they did all that, because it really got you invested in this character from the ground up, because they spent so much time in the beginning showing her childhood, why she's on this path of vengeance, and then showing her how she got these skill sets. You're just ready to see her use it, and she used it so well. Ana de Armas as the ballerina, as Eve, is phenomenal. She does a great job of not trying to copy and paste what Keanu Reeves does as the John Wick character, but making the character her own. She's a lot more vulnerable than John Wick. John Wick is this stone cold killer. If you're in his way, he will murder you. But in this film, Eve is a little bit more soft. She'll kill you. If you're in her way, she will, but she rather not. There's a bunch of moments in this movie where she could have killed somebody, and John probably would have, where she chose not to, and she only is focused on the vengeance of killing one person that she wants to kill, and she's not really interested in killing a whole bunch of people. If she has to, it's just a means to an end. Brought like a little character difference there, and also brought the world some fresh eyes that we haven't seen so far. Someone that's not trained, someone that's not as skilled as John Wick, going through the gulag, basically. And I think Ana de Armas did a great job of bringing enough depth to this character where you can really, really attach and like her. Do I wish that they explored some of those themes that they did in the movie, especially with some twists and turns that they had in the third act? Absolutely. But the strength of the franchise is the singular focus on the vengeance story. So hopefully they can balance that in the future. But for this flick, it really worked well to have that singular focus, especially since it's a brand new character. And with this could have felt really, really forced, right? If they could have felt like it kind of tried to put her in to a section of the franchise that didn't make any sense, or retroactively try to change one of the 4 films. But they didn't do that. They did a really good job of making this a natural progression, a natural story within the universe, not having much to do with the main John Wick story, her not affecting that, her having her own story. While Keanu Reeves' John Wick is sprinkled throughout the film, and he's not a spotlight stealer at all, the interactions are meaningful, she's really the focus. You kind of forget about John Wick throughout the movie until he shows up. You're like, ooh, and they just show how dope and badass he is as the Baba Yaga. And one thing that gave me chills on my arm was when they said fight like a girl. Sometimes when they use that phrase, that could be really cheesy in the film, but they did a really good job of using it at the right time, and it made me get really invested in it, because they really showed how to fight like a female assassin. She's smaller in stature, she's not as powerful as the men or even John Wick himself, but she's faster than them, and she's more cunning, and she uses her environment in different ways. So in the main movies in John Wick, it's a lot of kung fu with guns and him crawling on the floor and throwing people down and shooting them. But here she's doing a lot of different things with grenades, knives, things that she just finds in her environment, breaking arms and trying to climb on top of people or bring them down to her level. And it made the action feel innovative, fresh, and different, because they had to shoot the action very different from what we usually get. There's some breathtaking sequences in this film, because the production value of the film is on the level of John Wick 3, and kind of started getting towards the production level of John Wick 4. There's some beautiful scenery in this film. There's a club scene in here that's really, really great, reminiscent of the John Wick 4 club fight. And there's so many cool things here that look amazing. And Ana de Armas does a great job being the center of all this, with a lot of cool supporting characters that we've seen before, and some new ones too that maybe didn't get to shine as much. but they did a great job of utilizing everyone to drive the story forward. There's so many action sequences in this movie, man. It's 2 hours of 5 minutes. There's probably 8 action sequences, and they all slap. There's so many cool things to the point where my crowd clapped multiple times throughout the movie. That does not happen even during Avenger movies or during MCU movies where people are clapping because of how cool things turn out, because of the flow of the action. You can always follow what's going on, and because she's a smaller combatant fighting against multiple bigger men who usually have more guns than she does, it really gives a chance for the movie to really flex his action muscles and do some really cool things that you're not going to see in any other action movie. When we get to the third act, it does such a cool thing where it has some twists and turns with the story where it's going to affect people differently. I like the twists and turns that they had there. I wish they made it a little bit more impactful on the plot overall and maybe more emotional. I think that they did what they did in John Wick Chapter 4, where they got a little self-indulgent and like, look at this cool thing that we have, and forgot like what the character mission is a little bit. But also the cool thing they had with the flamethrowers was so dope. I loved it. It was so fun. Yeah, they spent a little bit too much time showing it off in like Zack Snyder's slow motion. Absolutely, but I had so much fun with it, I did not mind. So I gotta say, Ballerina to me is such a success. It not only builds out the world of the franchise, it showcases that you can do one of these movies without Keanu Reeves being the center of attention, and maybe like even if they do a second one of these, you don't even need to have John Wick in it at all, because they created a character that's already really compelling and believable, and you want to see the journey that she goes on by herself. They also did a great job of utilizing all the little aspects from the other movies while making them fresh and changing them for this new character. So this was such a banger. This was such a great film that I hope that they give us 3 more. Give me a quadrilogy of this. Give me 4 of these bad boys, and hopefully they can find time to add a little bit more depth to not only the story and the character while not taking away from that central thing that we love for John Wick. So with that said, I'm gonna give Ballerina a B. Let me know, what do you think of Ballerina, or From the World of John Wick Ballerina? Tell me what you think about that title as well. Drop your comments down below, let me know. And the question of the day is, what is your favorite female-led action movie? And you can watch more of my content right now.